That was a little thing, a special little thing that I believe was God was speaking to me and really prepping, like you said, really prepping my heart for the most difficult, horrible thing that was literally around the corner. In 2012, our second born daughter, Lenya, very suddenly, 5 days before Christmas, had an asthma attack and went to heaven that night. And it was very sudden and shocking, and all of a sudden we're plunged into this season and darkness and grief, and we did not see it coming, and it was shocking for us. It was just, she was here one moment and then in heaven the next.
And you had 3 little girls.
And at that point we had 4. In 2012, at the beginning of the year, we had Clover, Dawn Lusko was born, our 4th daughter, and then at the end of 2012 was when Lenya went home to heaven.
So a birth and a death in the same year.
Yeah. And so kind of the foundation of this book is really what I've personally experienced through great loss and through great difficulty. That's kind of like, this is where it all started beforehand, where God, I know, had his hand on me and was teaching me and growing me, but this is kind of like life that happened and difficulty that happened, but the things that I feel like God was teaching me in the difficulty and in the pain, I've been finally able to lay out in a book, which I'm so thankful for. And I never thought I would write a book, but here it is. Yeah. I always thought Levi was the writer in the family, but also with that, I talk about just the daily struggle. And there are days where, I feel like, man, we got through some of the hardest things in our life, but why am I having such a hard time fighting for honor in my marriage? Why am I having such a hard time being the kind of mom that I want my kids to look back and remember had a smile on her face and not a frown? Why am I struggling so much in being sweet and being kind and being Christ-like? And so it really kind of lays out my struggle, but also the things that I feel like God's taught me through his word and through being in church and through marriage. And so it's there. It's all there.
let me ask a question. The first book, Through the Eyes of a Lion, if you haven't read that, get it.
Yes.
Okay? And read it. It's one of the most profound books ever. We did an entire series with Levi, and we think that your 2 approaches to the way you handled the loss of your daughter was a game changer. Okay? I think it's completely game changing. This is really a follow-up to that. But I just thought of a question. Did you have any heads up in regard to Lenya's homegoing? Did the Lord prepare you in any way, shape, or form? Was there anything that happened that you look back, maybe you didn't notice it right then, but you look back and go, wait a second.
You get a prophetic word?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
what happened? Because that seems to be an important piece here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I believe that year in 2012 was a challenging, growing year for me. I remember reading in my journal, and that's something even throughout my book that I have little journal excerpts of what God was teaching me in the moment and after and before. But I remember reading something that I had written that I had felt like I had been learning more in that year than in my whole life combined. I felt like God was just revealing himself to me, and we were learning so much in our marriage, and there was such growth and anticipation of what God was gonna do, and there was kind of this like, man, ready for the next thing, because I'm just like, God's teaching me, and I'm ready for whatever he has next for me.
Anticipation.
Yeah. But actually, the week before Lenya went to heaven, Levi and I were in New York, and at this time, we kind of had a yearly annual trip where it was just us 2 going to New York. We have some friends that we would meet up with. But on this particular trip, it was literally 8 days before Lenya went to heaven. And again, like I said, her death was sudden. It wasn't like she was sick and that we were kind of expecting it, but it was just shocking and sudden. But we were in this church service, and at the end of the service, there was worship, and then this pastor came out and just started speaking over people in the crowd. And I'd never experienced this before, where I was sitting and just hearing someone prophesy over people. And it was so beautiful. And I think in my mind, maybe I thought it was kind of a weird thing that would happen. Like I'd heard of other churches that would do that kind of thing, but I always thought, oh, that must be so weird. But it felt so natural and so beautiful, and you just felt the Holy Spirit. And he just starts speaking to different people in the room. We're all in just kind of a worshipful attitude, and then he points me out. And this woman next to me was crying, so I'm like digging through my purse, trying to find tissue to hand to her. And as I'm digging, he starts speaking to me. He's like, Jennie Lusko. I'm like, wait, me? Wait, what are you gonna say to me? Like, and I thought, I was like, surely he has something for Levi. Like, he doesn't have something for me. And but then he just starts speaking, and he just starts saying, Jennie, I don't know if it was the plan for you to be here tonight, which in my heart it wasn't. I wanted to go to a
She tried to convince me to take her to a Broadway play, and I said we should go to church. Let the record state, all right? I didn't get a word, but I was the one who got us there, all
I
right?
know.
God had to make up for it.
Plus, I don't like Motown. You know, that was the big thing she wanted to see, so.
Oh my gosh. And so he says, I don't know if you're supposed to be here or not tonight, but I believe that that God has you here for a purpose, and he wants to speak his love over you, and that he's your backing, and that there's gonna come a day where he's gonna magnify your voice, and he's gonna use you. And I just want to remind you that that he loves you and he's with you. And I just start crying, and I have no idea what any of this means. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm gonna start teaching more, or I don't know. So, but that was a little thing, a special little thing that I believe God was speaking to me and really prepping, like you said, really prepping my heart for the most difficult, horrible thing that was literally around the corner. And honestly, the night that Lenny went to heaven, I was actually wearing these pants I bought in New York, and I remember looking down and just thinking through, kind of just picking apart what this pastor had spoken over me a week prior, and just remembering, okay, God is with me, and I don't understand this, and I don't know, I hate that this is happening, but God, I know that you're here, and I know that you're with me, and I know that we're not alone. And it's just one of those little things that God's so good. When you're hurting the most, he just sends those little reminders and speaks those little things that just reminds you that he's there.
Yeah.
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach as many individuals and families as possible with the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for helping make the gospel of grace go around the world.
Without you, we couldn't do it. God bless you.